it's the additional appropriations are because the, last year, we didn't have any money to appropriate because we had appropriated it all last year. So by the time I did the budget last year, there wouldn't have been any profit, then we didn't end up spending it. So we're appropriating what is left in there, which is $167,791. And although we are appropriating it, only about 20,000 of that is not promised or obligated to something.
Do you have any questions or comments during the public hearing phase of the meeting regarding these additional appropriations? If not, I think we can close the public hearing at exactly 6:01 p.m. and call the meeting to order, and I'll have folks please stand for the pledge followed by prayer. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Righteous Lord in heaven, thank you for this day and the many blessings that you've bestowed upon us and our community. Please be with the men and women before you today so that your will can be done through their hearts, their minds, and their actions. Be with those in our community who are hurting today. Be with those in our community who may be ill. Just be with us, good Lord, please. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right, Jan, can you take a roll call vote, please?
Okay. Brandon Elmore,
Present.
Bob Lay, not here. Jason Brewer,
Here.
Tim Heiss.
Here.
Tito Frias.
Here.
All right. I trust you've all had a chance to review the consent agenda. Any questions or comments regarding that? If not, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I'll move we accept the consent agenda as presented.
All right, that's a first. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right.
Just all in favor.
Then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All
Opposed?
all opposed, excuse me. Nay? All right, consent agenda is approved as presented. All right, moving down, we have no presenters. Obviously, the mayor is not here this evening. Department heads, do we have any department heads wishing to report anything this evening? All right, clerk treasurer, Jan, do you have anything this evening for us?
No, I don't have anything, except to remind you that there will be another public hearing next time.
Okay.
That's for the annexation. That's it.
All right, moving
That's
right
the,
along.
I'm sorry, that's the annexation of what, please?
The farm ground and the, I think there's a lot next to Park Street, next to Steve
There was some
Schuster's.
ground, it was left out of the previous, there was a couple of parcels in the Plum Street edition annexation that got left out of the,
Oh,
a couple of parcel numbers got left out, so we've got to go back and pick them up.
okay.
Yeah, so it's not the whole farm ground, there was just
It's like 2 parcels.
there's a mistake.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right, moving right along, council members. Tito, you want to start down with you?
I don't have anything to report this time.
All right, very good. This may be a pretty quick meeting then. Tim? how about
Don't have anything.
you? Jason?
I do not.
I have nothing either, so. And city manager Steve is not with us this evening, so we'll skip over him. Old business. We have on the agenda ordinance 2023-02 regarding the fireworks amendment. However, we're going to table that discussion this evening and come back to that at a later point in time. Next item then is the 2023 comprehensive plan. Do you have any questions regarding the comprehensive plan that was in previous packets? And if you recall, the comprehensive plan basically is needed for, and it's a necessary part oftentimes of grant funding. They'll ask for specific things to be within our comprehensive plan. So moving forward, we just need to adopt the comprehensive plan for this year for that the grant funding positions. And it's also just a good document to have. I think we've commented on the past that it's an excellent document. Lots of good, strategic visioning of what the city, looks like going forward. So any thoughts, questions, concerns about that document?
I do have a question. So I read it, it was several weeks ago now, and I loved it. But what comes to mind is one of the citizen priorities is Harder Park. So please remind me, is Harder Park and upgrading the playground equipment and all that, is that part of this plan, please?
I believe so. I know there's work in progress on seeking revenue sources for new playground equipment and so forth, but I think that's the.
Okay, I think it's in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't remember
Maybe we
exactly.
should-
It's been I'm as far out
I
from
just
that
read
as
it
you are.
yesterday, Tito, and it's in
Okay, good. Thank you.
there. I was looking.
Yeah, thank you, Bob.
Pretty passionate about that. Thank you, Bob.
That's all. That's all.
Any other questions regarding the 2023 comprehensive plan?
I'll make the motion that we accept the 2023 comprehensive plan as presented.
All right, very good. That's the first. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, thank you. Jan, do you want to take a roll call vote?
Brandon Elmore,
Yes.
Jason Brewer,
Yes.
Tim Heiss.
Yes.
Tito Freeze.
Yes.
All right. Next item then is, let's see here, Resolution 2023-R-03, additional appropriations for art fund. This is what we just had the public hearing about, right, Jan?
Correct.
Any questions, comments from council regarding that resolution?
I do. So, what I understood from what Jan mentioned during the hearing, most of what we're appropriating has been spent. Like we've.
It's not been spent,
Oh, okay.
but it's been obligated. For example, so there's still money in that council previously spent on the housing development, the roads and stuff.
Underground
I think there's
infrastructure.
about 14,000 left there. I forget what the greatest amount was, because there's still 167,000 left in there. It might be more than that. I can get that for you. I can email it to you if you want to know. But there's 20,000 that have not been.
They have not been
allocated by
earmarked.
council, right, they have not been earmarked, correct.
Okay. Because I was just thinking, this is the American Rescue Plan. It's like for COVID relief and that kind of thing, and so we just wanted to keep it pertinent in case the feds come after us and ask, "Was this for COVID?" That kind of thing.
Yeah, well, you guys voted, I have what's been spent on, and that was approved. We had a plan,
Okay.
and we do have a plan, and that's why I know there's only 19,000.
Okay. That's good.
Any other questions, comments regarding the resolution?
We'll move that we accept resolution 2023-R-03, additional appropriation resolution by title only.
All right, that's a first. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, Jan, roll call vote then?
Brandon Elmore,
Yes.
Jason Brewer.
Yes.
Tim Heiss.
Yes.
Tito Freeze.
Yes.
All right, moving right along. Blight demolition bids. So this is, the work that's stalled basically around town here, where we have the grant funding to move forward with those, with that demolition. That was stalled. We have 3 bids that are outstanding from 3 contractors. Hope all have had a chance to take a look at those bids, and just now's the opportunity for questions, comments, debate regarding those 3 bids. And for those who may be watching, the first bid is from American Decorative Concrete for $378,000. Advanced Demolition Services for $587,000. I'm rounding these numbers. Woolridge Construction Group for $590,000. So 3 bids.
I know Steve's not here, Chad's not here, but Jan, you might have some idea on this. I assume that the procedure would be the same as far as that we've used for oversight on,
CA.
with BCA, that we,
And if you don't approve this, you can't move forward. That's on
yeah.
they're still, going through trying to get the money from the
Bond, recovery of the bond. Yeah.
Any other questions, comments regarding the bids?
If there are any other questions, I'll move we accept the low bid from American Decorative Concrete for the number of $378,823 for the completion of the Blight Grant demolition and rebuild.
That's a first. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Very good. Jan, roll call vote.
Brandon Elmore,
Yes.
Jason Brewer,
Yes.
Tim Heiss.
Yes.
Tito Freeze.
Yes.
All right. Next on the agenda is the way warrant. Yes.
I don't have much, just have the new blueprints or the new drawings for what it looks like, what the finished product's gonna look like. As you can see, the green in the back is gonna have to be the first one we do, because obviously we need good functioning restrooms and there's gonna need to be a break room. So that's the green area back here. This yellow space is what we've estimated needs to be filled to pay for everything. Once this center space, a total of 8 offices, is filled, then we should be able to have $600 or less for each participant to have that facility in full use of it. Start filling these up, the price dramatically drops. End game, everybody's in there for $100, or less, because we're writing grants to pay for everything. So, I'm not positive how the city council works. I know that we were supposed to come back this week. I don't know if we're moving for a vote or there were any more questions, or, because I don't think Tito was here last week.
And we had to check on the amount that was left for the one grant as well.
I listened to the whole, I watched the whole.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay. All right, well, everybody's up to speed. Our commitment has gotten just a little bit better. We're gonna be closing on the property this week. Ryan Turkey's doing the paperwork for Bill Troutline. The earnest money check has been deposited and cleared. So we're just as far of getting keys and starting the procedures, getting everything
some
going.
volunteers in there to get all that stuff out.
Oh, that's right. I mean,
We heard in church yesterday that the Union City High School football team is great volunteers. They did some move out into a dumpster work for some lady at church. So I think we're gonna try and solicit some of the employees. some other stuff.
Okay, there's one other thing that's changed, of course. With less funding, it's gonna take a little bit longer. We anticipated having folks starting their leases before the end of summer and being fully in place by the holidays. A little bit less than half the money. It's not gonna take twice as long, but we're looking more like a spring or early summer next year now, with the amount of funds that were discussed in chambers last time. That's it.
Okay, so I think the process is then we deliberate and we then decide whether or not we want to vote. And so we can do that right now.
Yeah.
So thank you, sir, for your
Oh,
presentation. I mean, you're there in case we have any questions.
Amen.
So, I've thought long and hard about this one. It sounds like an awesome project. We have funds that are provided to us for the purpose, right?
Yes.
Of doing things related to drug rehabilitation and that kind of thing.
It's approximately at 25,000, right, Jan?
That we have right now.
Yes.
But then I think every year from now on, it's a lot less than that we'll get,
Yes.
maybe a year. I looked at the schedule and it wasn't anything near, like we got this past year. So,
Okay. So it just had some thoughts to present, and one is that we do have, and I think you've mentioned this, we do have a number of nonprofits that already do the kind of work that I anyway, are hoping to support. Because we have had and continue, I think, to have a drug problem in Union City. And so there are a number of individuals that require services and that we want to be able to support that somehow. At least that's kind of my view of it. I think because we have other nonprofits doing this already, that we need to provide the opportunity for them to apply. We need to, we have funds, we don't have a process right now for that. It's one that, it's not that hard to design a process for this, but that to my knowledge, we don't have a specific process for soliciting proposals to be funded and then to go through selection criteria, blah, 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 to select them. I've designed these in the past. They're not that hard, but we just don't have one right now. And what I'm saying is, I'm hoping that we have a process by which we can fund the most impactful of these initiatives. And let me just say that when I consider your initiative, it sounds like a business, right? Meaning it's something that balances sort of a financial input, which you're asking us to provide, and then which would rely on other nonprofits to pay a sort of a rental fee for space in the building that you're improving in order to make it a sustainable business. To my knowledge, we have not provided that kind of support to businesses at all. Right? Our business support is facade grants. And so my thinking, and others might disagree, is that we want to have the most bang for our buck, so to speak. We want to have the most impact on this drug issue that's close to my heart. And I just think that there are other nonprofits that are doing successful initiatives. I see people, that had this problem and that are coming clean, and I wish we could give them the opportunity to apply and access these funds. That's kind of where I stand.
Thank you, Tito, for those comments. I mean, I'm kind of right there with you, honestly. I had a good conversation, brief conversation, maybe 10, 15 minutes with Kevin Lawrence, actually, on Friday night. And, he's been doing some of this work, addiction counseling for the past 7 or 8 years in the basement of the Wesleyan Church. And, he had the mean, he wasn't even asking for money. I was going to him saying, is this something that you guys could utilize? And, he's saying that, they're able to get folks into like a 10-day inpatient rehab facility for $200. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that that was even a possibility. That this could go a long way in that regard. But I'm right there with you that we've got some, non-for-profit, doing this type of work currently that I think we really need to give them an opportunity to, like you said, Tito, make our money, because we it's very little, that we have for this. It's $25,000. It's going to go quick, and then over the next was it a decade or 20 years, it's like $3,000 or $4,000. Where we could maybe stretch that out to do something like that. But I'm right there with you, Tito. I concur, and those were some of my very similar thoughts. I think Jason and
You make good
Tim.
points I didn't think about, so I do agree. Tito, thank you for making those points.
So I urge you to vote no, and I move that we move this to a vote.
I only have one thing to add, if you don't mind.
Sure.
The monetary commitment that we're asking of Union City is approximately 10% of what my family's commitment is to Union City. We're spending $200,000 on that facility over a period of 4 years, and our ask of $25,000, I understand for folks who have a limited budget and only get specific dollars for specific things, and they're allocated. I can respect that. And you're right, you do have some other ministries and other nonprofits that are doing good work in the area. I've been in communication with Kevin. I was actually thinking about Kevin for being the lead man on the board when we do establish the board. He's a good guy. And Jeff speaks highly of him. Chad speaks highly of him, and I've had a couple business dealings with him. My only thing is, we purchased a property based on an ask. We got ourselves committed to a $200,000 property in, no disrespect, but an area where it's not going to generate any revenue, and it just won't. I guess if some other business came, real business, one that wasn't trying to make things available for nothing, our end game is everything's going to be free. $25,000 doesn't cover the restrooms, but we're still invested in the area. We're moving here, we live here. We serve the folks here already. We're already going out on chaplain calls. I just don't know how we can be competitive if we can't get the doors open to show you something. We can one time, if you would consider this one time, and revisit it next year for refinancing, because when these doors open and those yellow offices start filling, those miracles that you're talking about are going to start happening more frequently. We're going to work in tandem with every existing, and any overflow we get is going to go straight to them. If at the end of the year we haven't spent the city funding, we're going to give it to one of the organizations that need it. That's it. That's our last plea. Chad asked us to find a building. We found a building. Chad asked us to buy a building. We bought a building. Now my family is financially responsible for $200,000 because we love Union City. That's it.
Move that we vote on whether or not to fund the way worn.
Well, I think it has to be in the form of a motion and
That
a
was my
second.
motion. That was my motion.
Is there a second? If there's no second, then it dies. Moving on, Resolution 2023-R-04, resolution authorizing RBDG application submission. So this is a grant application resolution for the grant for Hub City bank building restoration. Looks like an application for $100,000 in grant funding, where we would match that with $26,300. my understanding is this grant is actually due tomorrow. So based on our movement forward on this resolution, we either can apply for the grant tomorrow or not. So
I'm sorry, that was a little stressful. Can you? I'm sorry. Can we repeat? I'm so sorry.
no problem at all. I was struggling with getting it out as well. But yes, so resolution, and it's it wasn't in the, it may not be on your agenda that was printed out. It was in an amended agenda. It's resolution 2023-R-04. It's a resolution authorizing RBDG application submission, and that's it's a grant submission for the Hub City Bank building, the former Hub City Bank building, a restoration.
There's a grant for that?
Yeah. And it would be $100,000 where we would have to match that with $26,300. And that would be for restoration into a brewery.
And so when we say restoration to a brewery, it's not that the city is building necessarily a brewery. It's that we are refurbishing a building and making it business ready,
Yes.
right? So that a business
My
can buy it.
understanding.
Okay, just making it clear because people like, huh, the city is getting into brewery? No. So,
And it's an expansion of an existing business entity also with that,
which business?
which would be Roots, Livingston's Roots.
Oh, okay, okay.
Expansion of their total venture.
Aha.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's part of that whole,
And who is the funder, or what is who's providing this grant?
rural development, JS?
Yes, and that's why we have to do a resolution to submit for the grant application.
And they're Indiana government, or what is rural development like? It's not
U.S.
federal.
Department of Agriculture.
Oh, okay, USDA.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. I move that we accept or move forward with the grant application.
Resolution 2023-R-04.
Okay.
Is that right?
Exactly. Since it's not written here. So that we can put that building into
Into use, yeah.
condition. Yeah.
And it's a first. Do you have a second?
No second.
All right, Jan, roll call vote.
Brandon Elmore,
Yes.
Jason Brewer.
Yes.
Tim Heiss.
Yes.
Gina Frias.
Yes.
And I'll add on that, some of the details on that. That's basically exterior restoration of the building in terms of masonry work and so forth, that regardless of the act of what was done is needed to be done to preserve the building. So even if that, and the city has some control of that, even if that didn't proceed, it's still work that's not dedicated to one project, and it needs to be done to preserve the building so it doesn't deteriorate.
And just to be clear, we're applying for a grant. We may not get it.
Right.
Well, that's,
Yeah.
Just
Very true. Yeah, thanks for that addition there, Tim.
And it actually kind of falls within some of our facade grant work otherwise. It would fall, I mean, we're putting forth.
if it
money
were
like we
already
would-
owned.
If it were already owned and in an active state, it'd be like doing the facade grant, so. But we're applying for somebody else's money, so.
Could we then apply for the facade grant if the city owns it?
We could apply, but.
I don't know if it do us any good, but yeah. All right, brings us to visitors. Do we have any visitors wishing to address the board? If so, please stand and state your name and
I
address.
didn't hear a vote on that.
Oh, did we?
I thought we did. Did we?
No, I don't think we did.
Oh.
Jason seconded, yeah, I don't think I did.
I think I interrupted.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I thought we went down through.
Jason,
Second.
Brandon Elmore.
Yes.
Jason Brewer.
Yes.
Tim Heiss.
Yes.
Gina Frias.
Yes. And let me just ask, on the way worn, I had moved that we vote. Does it die or does it continue? Because we could have all
It dies.
voted no.
It can be brought up again, but it dies.
There wasn't a second.
There was no
There was
second,
no
so the
second.
motion died,
Okay.
which
What's up with you
is
guys?
fine.
Okay, that's,
Same means to an end.
okay.
All right, any visitors wishing to address the
I
board?
brought that up because I'd already written a letter of support for that grant application.
Oh.
I want to make sure you guys voted to submit it.
All right, if there are no visitors wishing to address the council, then the date of the next council meeting will be Monday, March 13th, 2023 at 6 p.m. And the date of the next Board of Works meeting will be Monday, also Monday, March 13th, 2023 at 1 p.m. We have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
All right, meeting's adjourned.